So, hello everybody and welcome to Oulton Park if you are just joining us. It's been a rather dry morning until we've gone racing. All of a sudden we've said we're going to go racing and the heavens have opened. The rain is now falling, so we thought why not send convertible cars out there. The Miata Trophy will kick off our racing action here at Oulton Park. Today, of course, only a one-day meeting, so it's absolutely jam-packed. This will be our first of 14 races that we will have on show for you, courtesy of the MSV and MSVT, of course. Coming into this weekend, the championship is close. We've seen it closer, but John Langridge, he's setting off his weekend absolutely how he would want to. Coming in, leading the championship, he's only gone and put it on pole position. Declan Lee, however, main championship rival, will be lining up alongside on the front row of the grid, so plenty to look forward to. We'll run you through the grid in a few moments' time, but myself, Jack Worrell, will be guiding you through all of the action on this side of the circuit. However, down at Knickerbrook, it's James Reynolds. James, how are you?
Very well. It's really exciting to have the Mazda MX-5 Miatas out, the best-selling convertible car of all time since it was launched at the Chicago Auto Show back in 1989. We're now on the 5th generation, and we've got the 3rd and 4th racing already on track now on this green flag lap.
We do indeed. So to run you through the grid and the way in which they will line up, John Langridge, following Superpole, will be lining up on pole position, a 2-minute 3.304 ahead of Declan Lee, just a tenth and a bit behind on a 2-minute 3.636. Row 2 is made up of Callie Atkins and Nicholas Stott, car 42 and 4. Alex Miller has got Jack Hargraves for company on row number 3, 7 and 66 on row 3. Row 4 is Drew Fletcher and David Chapman, 26 and 19, and on row 5 is John Robinson and Robin Yao, 2 and 10. Jack Hodges has got Simon Fleet alongside on row number 6, 28 and 55, followed then by Raymond Worley and Ian Abel on row 7, 40 and 23. And then we get to the end of Class NC grid. That's Jude Worley and Ruben Lowe, car number 20 and car number 21, before we have a Rose Gap and we get back to Class ND, that being Kevin Sylvain and Ben Taylor. Ben Taylor, car number 12, the amendment to the programme. He falls into the guest class, hence why he's starting off the back of the grid. But it's 62 and 12 on the very back row. Keep an eye on Kevin Sylvain, car number 62. He is in sort of the deep red BC cars liveried Mark IV Mazda MX-5. He's starting in 19th place. However, he got into Superpole, meaning that of course he was 6th on the grid outright come the end of the initial qualifying session. So plenty to look forward to and a very exciting race on the way, James.
Yeah, really exciting race on the way. 18 of these Miatas making their way towards the grid, and we've got 16 Mark IIIs who, as Jack was just explaining, will be making up the first grid, and then a pair of Mark IV and Miatas as well.
Absolutely. So we wait and see the grid forming as all of the cars are now just picking their way onto the start-finish line. They will work their way into their respective positions. Brilliant work by the Oulton Park marshals, getting them all into the correct positions. Windscreen wipers working hard already as the temperature continues to drop. It is rather chilly, although I feel slightly more sorry for you down at Knickerbrook, as it has, how can we put it lightly, active air conditioning. We'll go with that. It is very well ventilated, is that commentary box. But we wait to see the red lights go on, which they should do in just a few moments' time, and we can get the first race of 14 underway for Saturday's action here at Oulton Park. The green flag is waved at the tail end of the order as we wait for the 5-second ball to be held aloft, which it is done so now. It is then going to be all eyes onto the gantry. The red lights go on. Who will get the best start from the front row? Will it be John Langridge? Will it be Declan Lee? As the red lights go out, it's a fairly even start from the front row, fairly tentative. We've had a stall in that mid-pack. I think that was potentially Callie Atkins that hasn't gone anywhere, but they're side-by-side in towards turn 1 for the lead. It's John Langridge on the inside, Declan Lee on the outside. They all pick their way through. There's a bit of squirming, but Declan Lee all the way around the outside, bouncing over the curbs into the lead of the race. That's exactly what he needs to keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, Declan Lee keeps the lead as he goes through cascades. He's chased in second position by the championship leader, John Langridge, and then in third continues to be Kia Atkins in the 42, and Nicholas Stott is in fourth position. They're very close indeed. The leader continues to be the new leader, Declan Lee, very close at the moment between John Langridge and Nicholas Stott as they go down Lakeside, and they all seem to be safely going down Lakeside towards the Sheller's hairpin for the first time. All 18 Miatas making their way through this light rain. And the leader continues to be the green MX-5, the one driven by Declan Lee. chased very closely by John Langridge. These two, both the first and second, and they're in the opposite order in the championship at the moment. And then in third position now, Alex Miller has just moved up as they went through the Shallows hairpin. He has overtaken the number 42 of Kyle Atkins, I think, as they now come back over Hilltop and they're back into my view. So the leader, Declan Lee, took the lead on the first corner, and he's kept the lead for half the circuit so far. And then in second position, John Langridge in the number 5, the black and white Miata, who's chased then in third position by number 4, Nicholas Stott, who's moved up a position. Then Alex Miller has moved up 2 in the number 7. Then we have the 26 of Dor Fletcher and David Chapman in the 19. So somewhere, by the looks of things, number 42 has either gone off. I think the number 42 must have gone off because it isn't in the top 7 anymore, and having started in only third position, and they're probably coming back towards you now, Jack.
Yeah, Callie Atkins, unfortunately, he stalled on the grid and just couldn't get that car away. He did manage to get the car struck back into life and will be carving his way up through the order. John Langridge had a huge moment on the run through Island Bend, somehow managed to get the car back under his spell, but towards me to take the first lap in the book comes Declan Lee. He will come over the line and peer through the mist to take that first lap in the book. John Langridge is chasing hard, desperately trying to further extend that championship lead. Nicholas Stott coming under a bit of pressure now from Alex Miller for what is going to be third and fourth place respectively. Drew Fletcher under pressure from Will Morris, who had a similarly big moment on the run through Shell Oils and in towards Britain's. But everybody over the line for the first time. Callie Atkins, he's carving his way back through the order, desperately trying to make up for that poor start.
Yeah, Declan Lee then stretched his legs. He's got a little bit of a lead here on John Langridge of almost a second, and then there's a further gap to in third position the number 4 of Nicholas Stott, and then in fifth position is the number 7 of Alex Miller, and then it's very close in behind between for about 10th position. There's 4 cars very close as they go along the lake side, while the leaders have almost got to the Shallows hairpin. Declan Lee, and it looks like John Langridge has shrunk that gap as they go into the hairpin. And then there's a gap to third position, which continues to be Nicholas Stott, being challenged all the time by Alex Miller, who originally started off in fifth position. And now they come through the chicane at Britain's and back over Hilltop. And Declan Lee still has the lead. John Langridge second, and in third continues to be Nicholas Stott. Alex Miller is fourth, and then fifth position is Drew Fletcher. Ahead of, in seventh position now, is the number 2 of Robinson, the light green Miata. Then in 8th at this stage is the black and orange number 66, who's made a position up with Hargreaves at the wheel, as the leaders have now gone towards Drews and probably back into your side, Jack.
Yeah, they'll be back with me in a few moments' time. We peer through the forest and behind the Warwick Bridge they will go. Declan Lee, last time through, 0.803 of a second separated him from John Langridge, so just the right side of 0.8 of a second. They will go over Deer Leap under the bridge and towards myself once again. What can Declan Lee about extending that margin? I would say he's pulled that almost to what, 1.5, best part of 2 seconds now. Declan Lee over the line, he breaks the beam. John Langridge, yes, 1.5 seconds, the gap between the pair of them, by way of Declan Lee's fastest lap of the race at 2 minutes 11.539, the fastest lap of anyone so far. John Langridge can only respond with a 2 minute 12.151. To put that into perspective, Alex Miller is on a 2:12.3 and he's down in what is fourth place. Kevin Sylvain continues to fight his way through the order, now dives his way to the inside of Jack Hodges on the run through turn 1. There's contact between the pair of them, door to door, but they continue on. Everything now swings the way of Callie Atkins, who's making up for that poor start. He crossed the line in 12th place. He'll be appearing into your side behind Kevin Sylvain. Jack Hodges is still trying to sort himself out. That's a brilliant battle for what is going to be 10th, 11th and 12th place.
Yeah, that battle is going lakeside now, and Callie Atkins is looking down the inside of the car ahead of Sylvain, and he can't quite make it past, and they've now gone back out of my view as Declan Lee makes his way round the Shallows hairpin.
Sorry to jump in. Contact with Jack Hodges, spins him through 360 degrees, and Kevin Sylvain has managed to rejoin the circuit, but contact at the quickest part of the circuit as well. Is your screen down there connected? I understand obviously there will be a slight delay, but Jack Hodges, if you could see it, was all over the grass, 360 degrees. He's not just trying to get the car back on the road, he's probably rather dizzy after rejoining the circuit.
Absolutely, yeah. Slight delay on my screen compared to yours, and it is still Declan Lee who leads, and has probably stretched his lead to about 2 seconds now. Ben Robinson comes through number 2, and then in the 66, who is in 8th position with Kevin Hargreaves. As the no overtaking at the moment, as the number 28 car tries to go past number 23 and successfully does it through Nicker Bruck. 28 past the 23 as they go up Clay Hill, and the leaders are probably back with you now, Jack.
They are indeed. Declan Lee appears into my sight as if you knew exactly where he was on circuit. In towards turn 1 he will go. Another fastest lap of the race, a 2-minute 10.837, almost a full second quicker than John Langridge. 2.3 seconds now the lead margin. The similar gap between John Langridge back to Nicholas Stott, who hasn't managed to fend off any of the attentions or the pressure that Alex Miller is starting to apply. So Alex Miller towards you, still chasing down Nicholas Stott, only a couple of tenths between them.
Yeah, very little between Nicholas Stott and Alex Miller as they go through and onto Lakeside. Oh, and Alex Miller comes off. Oh, he's just spun for 180 degrees going down Lakeside and comes off the number 4 of Alex Miller, and as gifted. Nicholas Stott keeps the 3rd position and then gifts the number 19 of Chapman 4th position.
Yeah, so Nicholas Stott it was that spun through 180 degrees and I think found the barrier. Alex Miller does inherit that 3rd place now, so the black and gold machine up into 3rd place. I didn't see if there was any contact, but I don't know whether that was Alex Miller just applying pressure in the right places that allowed Nicholas Stott to maybe run slightly over the curbs, and that puts him wide and potentially in towards the barrier as well. You can see in towards the Hislop chicane that some of the cars are starting to wander their way back towards the try line once again. Declan Lee not worried about the curbs at all. Normally you avoid them in the wet, but all sorts of sideways as he climbs up Clay Hill under the bridge, still with John Langridge giving chase. The top 4 have now massively separated, so it's Declan Lee leading John Langridge, followed then by Alex Miller and what is now Drew Fletcher up into 4th place. David Chapman and Jack Robinson unfortunately slightly further apart than what we would have liked to see, but Declan Lee on the extreme inside on the run towards the final corner at Lodge under the Warwick Bridge and then back into my sight once again. John Langridge is giving chase but just doesn't really have much to respond with. Alex Miller using and drawing upon all of his experience, using that wider line, the unpolished line, quicker in the wet as there's not all of that rubber ground into the tarmac. John Langridge this time responds with a slightly quicker lap time, but Declan Lee once again sets another fastest lap of the race, a 2-minute 10.012. So Declan Lee leads from John Langridge, followed then by Alex Miller and Drew Fletcher. It is then the number 19 machine of David Chapman. Into the pit lane unfortunately comes Callie Atkins. He goes straight through and rejoins the circuit once again. By the looks of the mechanics walking back onto the pit wall, I'm guessing he had a quick chat with the team just to discuss what may have potentially gone wrong with the car. Keep an eye on the cars that are coming towards you in a few moments time. Simon Fleet is towards the tail end of the battle. Kevin Sylvain is in the middle, and I couldn't quite pick out who that was at the head of affairs, but those 3 cars separated by very little indeed.
Yeah, good news that Nicholas Stott was able to get straight back on the track. He only lost about 20 seconds and he's probably back with you by now, Jack, and he, I can say he didn't quite kiss the barrier by the looks of things, and from what I saw there was no contact. He just suddenly lost it in the slippy conditions and spun it through 180 degrees. But he was back on track almost immediately. He lost quite a lot of positions after that incident. As the leader, Declan Lee, comes through Nicker Bruck for the 5th time. Within 2nd position still John Langridge. And now into 3rd position is the number 7 of Alex Miller after that incident of Nicholas Stott. And into 4th position is the 26 car of Drew Fletcher, who originally started in 7th, and they are ahead of the number 19 of David Chapman, who's also made 3 places up. The rain continues to drizzle on the track. Some of the drivers taking it fairly cautiously through Nicker Bruck, And here comes this freeway battle, and we have a car on the grass, gone wide over Hilltop. Oh, he's going to rejoin at Knickerbrook, and that was the car just behind Nicholas Stott's number 4, and the car that went off was the number 23 machine, driven by Ian Abel, and he's got it back on the track after having gone wide on the grass coming over Hilltop.
Yeah, Ian Abel, he was so sideways on the running towards turn 1, and I thought he's getting rather confident, and clearly his confidence came back to bite him. All of a sudden this rain is getting so much harder. You can visually see it's falling, and in convertible cars that's going to be a challenge, but maybe if the wind attacks you in the wrong way, it's going to be rather distracting indeed. A lot of the drivers, just to aid their cooling, leave their visors open, and all of a sudden if you're getting all that rainwater ingested into your race helmet, it's going to be far from comfortable. Callie Atkins is coming back towards you. He's on a mission. He's currently trapped up and behind Jack Hargraves, who's chasing John Robinson. They're just going along Lakeside now, but those three are getting closer. There's another trio working its way towards you. I think involved in that little battle is going to be Jack Hodges. He's being hunted down by the recovering Nicholas Stott.
Yeah, so hopefully that battle will come into view shortly as Declan Lee goes over Hilltop. He slides a bit, he goes round onto this dry line, but he gets through Knickerbrook. Very difficult conditions here. Slides again out of Knickerbrook, the leader, being chased by John Langridge. And then still in third position is Nicholas Stott in the number 7. And then in fourth position continues to be David Chapman in the 26 machine. And then in fifth position is the number 19 car. Has now a battle on here with Robinson still keeping the sixth position by looks of things, but he's sliding round with hot on his tail the number 66 and the 42 cars of Jack Hargreaves as they go up Clay Hill now, and Robinson keeps the lead of that trio. Currently Robinson in sixth position, as the leaders are probably back with you, Jack.
Yeah, Declan Lee over the line to take another lap in the book. You can tell the weather's getting worse, not only visually but by the lap times as well. We're lapping 1.5 seconds slower than what we know we can do in this race. So Declan Lee goes through with a 5.5 second margin between himself and John Langridge. Whilst that sounds very good and very good on paper, points-wise, John Langridge being in second place, that is not what Declan Lee wants. Alex Miller in third place. Those three names in the top three of the very quickest drivers in the Miata Trophy, but everybody else is vying for those top 3 positions as well. Drew Fletcher in fourth. We've got Steve Chapman, car number 19, and David Chapman, pardon me, in fifth place. But there's some brilliant battles out there. Kevin Sylvain still fighting away with Simon Fleet. Simon Fleet is applying pressure in all of the right places, and Nicholas Stott still on that comeback drive in towards turn 1.
Yeah, and that battle has just gone through Cascades. The 3 drivers of the 62 and the 46, along with the number 2 of Nicholas Robinson, are going down Lakeside. Nicholas Robinson still has the lead from the 62 car, as they are having a battle here for 8th, 9th and 10th position. As they head into the Shallows hairpin, Declan Lee, the leader, goes up Clay Hill, and number 20 seems to be in the mix at the head of affairs with the is just in the way, got in between John Langridge and the leader, so they've got to negotiate the car number 20, who is in between. That's Jude Worley, who's just in between the leader Declan Lee and a second placed car of number 5 of John Langridge at the wheel, who will have to pass that back marker as they head through Druids now.
They do indeed, and John Robinson under big pressure now from Jack Hargraves, and I think maybe a missed gear or a mistake or a problem for John Robinson.
Yeah, and John Robinson has slowed very slowly through Knickerbrook and got overtaken and nearly had a collision between the 2 cars behind him, and he's now going up Clay Hill at a very slow pace at about 20-30 miles an hour, which is significantly slower than he should be going, and some problems. I think he'll be coming into the pits very shortly.
Yeah, it would make sense, wouldn't it? Jude Worley, she's just picking her way in towards turn 1 as Declan Lee and John Langridge have gone through, and yes, John Robinson with a very severe problem as he's rumbling his way over the grass and unfortunately in towards retirement.
Yeah, looks like it because he went right over the grass there, so hopefully he can make it back to the pits, but in such a short race, as you say, he'll be retiring from this contest.
Yeah, it is a shame. Back over Dia Leap and back towards me come the battle we've been watching over the previous couple of laps. That's currently being headed by Robin Yao. Kevin Sylvain trapped up and behind him. Then we've got Simon Fleet. That trio just working its way through turn 1. Callie Atkins up the road has driven away. The first car you will see is the grey and yellow machine of Robin Yao. He's under massive pressure from Kevin Sylvain, who started on the back row of the grid. He's carving his way through the order very, very well indeed.
Yeah, from 20th position to 8th for Kevin Sylvain in one of the two Mark IV pieces of machinery out on track, so he's moved up 12 positions, but as you say, he did qualify in the top 5 because he competed in the Super Pole earlier on.
Yeah, he did indeed, and of course being the only Class ND car, or being the only in theory Class ND car, whilst we have two Mark IVs, he's the only one that falls into Class ND. Started on the back row of the grid, but as such, being the only car in that class, God's afforded the opportunity for Super Pole, naturally being on pole position in his class. So Simon Fleet is still continuing to give chase. The rain is falling harder than ever. Puddles starting to form on my side of the circuit. It looks rather similar over your side. Over the crest now comes Jack Hargraves, and he's got Callie Atkins all trapped up and behind him in towards Knickerbrook.
He certainly has. He's all over his tail at the moment, but looks like he's going to defend his position. Yeah, he successfully defends that position there as they head up Clay Hill, and he keeps hold of, I think, is it 8th place, Jack?
For where Callie Atkins will be. Callie Atkins
is much further down.
Yeah, Callie Atkins is a lap down. He's trying to carve his way through the order. He's got every right to do so if he feels he's quicker. And Jack Hargraves desperately won't want him to get through. Through turn 1, we've already seen the top 4 effectively. Will Morris has just picked his way through turn 1 as well. Jude Worley has dealt with the conditions and the traffic beautifully well as she goes through to take another lap in the book as well. We await the arrival of Jack Hargraves. He just appears over the crest and back towards me, still with Callie Atkins in tow. They go through and on to another lap of the race, and then it's everybody else thereafter. Robin Yao still under pressure from Kevin Sylvain, albeit not as much as he was on the lap prior. He's just extended that margin enough to where it's a comfortable gap between himself and Kevin Sylvain. Just behind Kevin Sylvain we have Simon Fleet. Over the line now goes the recovering Nicholas Stott, who's back inside that top 10, and a big moment on the exit of the final corner. That was Free and Able. He's hunting down Raymond Worley. They go through and take another lap in the book. Raymond Worley over the line, and Ian Able, the body language of the car shows that he is pushing on, but he was all sorts of crossed up heading in towards the final corner. Somehow got the car under his spell, and I'd imagine we're getting dangerously close to the final lap of the race, James.
Yes, so Raymond Worley definitely trying to defend his position as they go into Cascades, with Ian Able all over him. This pair of these two white Miatas now heading through Cascades and out onto Lakeside. Looks like Raymond Worley is going to keep that position in the mid division, with Ian Able unable to close that gap as they go down Lakeside. The battle between cars 40 and 23 there. As we now have 3 cars overtaking each other into Knickerbrook, and the number 66 machine of Jack Hargreaves has just overtaken the number 42 of Callie Atkins. So Hargreaves and Atkins right next to each other as they go up Clay Hill, and there's nothing between these two cars at all.
No, not at all. We have seen the checkered flag fall. So over the line came Declan Lee. He takes the race 1 win in the Miata Trophy and takes a good haul of points with it. John Langridge crossed the line in 2nd place. He's doing everything he needs to for his championship aspirations. Declan Lee wanting to defend his 2023 title. Alex Miller over the line to round out your podium in 3rd place, followed then by David Chapman, who's in Will Morris's car, or it was Will Morris previously in David Chapman's car. Apologies for the name mistakes there, but it is David Chapman in the number 19 machine that crossed the line in 4th place ahead of Drew Fletcher. Jack Hargraves comes over the line to finish in 6th place. He was hunted down by Callie Atkins, albeit Callie was a lap down. Over the line now comes Robin Yao. He pulled away quite substantially from Kevin Sylvain, left him vulnerable to Simon Fleet, but Simon just about couldn't quite get there past Kevin Sylvain. Nicholas Stott recovers to 10th place and takes the checkered flag. It will then be Jack Hodges, Raymond Worley and Ian Abel that will come towards the line to round out your final few finishes. We only saw one retirement, unfortunately. That was for John Robinson that we saw on the run out of the Hislop chicane and in towards Knickerbrook. I don't really know what it was. It looked sort of gearbox, drive shaft, drivetrain related. At least the car just didn't seem to have the that urge to go. But the leaders just working their way through and past you on their in lap. And I mean, all of a sudden, does it seem like the rain has slowed down?
Well, down here, I mean, rain was heavier during the middle of the race, but I think it's still heavier than it was at the beginning of the race, and there's still a lot of umbrellas up, so maybe it's slightly easing, but I think maybe it's eased more at your end.
Yeah, absolutely. It has. It's nowhere near as heavy as it was earlier on. Still well and truly raining. There's no getting around that. But as the leader, Declan Lee, or the winner, pardon me, will pick his way towards the final corner. I've got a feeling Race Control may have something to say about that, Declan. He does a lot of drifting in his spare time in his BMW E36, pardon me. He's just got back from Poland as well. Lovely guy is Declan, albeit I think that may attract the attention of the wrong crowd in Race Control. He may get in a bit of trouble for that one. But Declan Lee is your race winner. There are the confirmed results on the live stream. John Langridge crossed the line to finish in 2nd place, and Alex Miller rounds out your podium. David Chapman crossed the line in 4th ahead of Drew Fletcher in 5th. Then it was Jack Hargraves and Robin Yao 6th and 7th. Kevin Sylvain finished 8th overall and won Class ND as expected. Then it was Simon Fleet, Nicholas Stott, Jack Hodges and Raymond Worley in 12th place. Ian Abel crossed the line to finish in 13th place. Ben Taylor, being the sole driver in the guest class, naturally gets the win there. And it was Reuben Lowe, Callie Atkins and Jude Worley rounding out your 17 finishes. Unfortunately, we lost John Robinson 3 laps from the end. But that was the first race of the day from the Miata Trophy. We will see them out again later on this afternoon at around about 3 o'clock. We should see the return of the Miata Trophy the other side of lunch. In the meantime, if you're watching on the stream, please do join us in around about sort of 15-20 minutes time when we get the Legends Cars Championships race underway. If you're joining us at the circuit, bear with us. We'll be back with you in a few moments time for the Clubman Sports Prototype Championship.